Hello everyone, this is Harlan Parrott again with another guitar lesson today. Today we're going to actually study a thing called modes. We're not going to get into it real deeply because it's not necessary. But last lesson we actually learned what makes up a major chord. And we looked at it and told you that it consisted of number 1, number 3, and number 5 of the actual major scale of that particular chord you want to make. And we'll use C for an example. We had talked previously about the major scale and how that it's formed. It's actually, if you looked at it from the way it's done in books, it's whole tone, half, whole tone, whole tone, half. Or 2 frets, the way I like it, you go from the starting point, which is the root they call it, number 1. We go 2 frets, 2 frets, 1 fret. Then we go 2 frets, 2 frets, 2 frets, 1 fret. And they were labeled as numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then when we got back to the 8, which is basically number 1 again, an octave higher. And we talked about there being a number 7 interval between each one of those notes. For example, the 1 is also an 8, the 2 is a 9, 3 is a 10, the 4 is an 11, the 5 is a 12, and the 6 is the 13th note. And this is where we get all these chords from. Today we're going to actually teach you what a mode is and the basics of the mode. And we're going to show you how that it works. For example, we can take the C major scale, which is what we'll start on. And we start at C, of course. We'll go C, which is 1, D is 2, E is 3, F is 4. Remember, between 3 and 4 there's 1 fret. G is 5, A is 6, B is 7, and then between 7 and 8 there's 1 fret, which comes back to a C or an octave. Now if we take that note and we just come up one string, basically one interval at a time, we got the basic major scale. Okay? But if we take and make, say, a major chord, which we start off with C, when we do that, we have this. If we start, for example, I'm going to use this small C, which we have a C, E, G, makes up the C major chord, which is 1, 3, 5 of the C major scale. So we got C here, an E there, and a G on the bottom here. So if we take each one of those notes in the C scale and we raise it to the next note in the C scale from where that we start, we have another chord. It's called a Dorian minor chord or a minor chord. So we bring the G, which is here, up 2 frets to an A. That's our next note. We bring the E between E and F for 3 and 4. There's 1 fret, so we bring it up 1 fret. Now we got these 2 notes. Then if we take the C note, and we between C and the next interval is 2 frets, bring it up 2 frets, we have the D note. And we add those 3 together, we have a D minor chord. Now let's try it one more time. And we'll start from where we left off, which is the A note here on the bottom. We came from G to A. We go to B, to the next note in the C major scale, remember. You can write all these down because it's just C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. We'll go from G to A. We went from F to G. We go from A to B. We go from F to G. And we go from D to E, which is 2 frets. Now we have an E minor chord. So we started off with C, D minor, E minor. If we go up 1 more, between the B and C there's 1 fret because that's between number 7 and number 8 of the C major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, between 7 and 8. We go up 1 fret. We bring the G up 2 frets. Then we bring the E up 1 fret between 3 and 4. Now we have these 3 notes, and we got an F chord. Now notice how it sounds. Hear that? Now we go up, try it again. We take the C note, we go up to the next interval, which is 2 frets, becomes a D. It's between C and D, the next letter of the alphabet. It just follows very simply. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, and you can learn anything on this guitar you want. C, D, and this note here is an A note, comes up to a B. The F note comes up to a G. Now we got these 3 notes, which is a G. Now watch this. We start from C. We come all the way up to G. Let's try it again. We're going to finish the octave. We start off with this note here, which happens to be a D note. Between D and E, there's 2 frets. This note in the G chord here is an actual B note, and it comes up 1 fret between B and C. So now we have these 2. Then the G note comes up 2 frets, and we have this chord. Now that's called an A minor chord. So we start off with C, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor. Hear that? We made all these chords by just moving the C scale up to the next note in the scale from where we started with the C major chord. We have one more, which is the odd one, and it's actually a half diminished chord, and we do the same thing though. We have an E, we go up 1 fret, which becomes an F. We have the C note, which will go up 2 fret, becomes a D. And we have the A note, we go up 2 frets, becomes a B. And we have this chord. Then we do that one more time. We come back. We got the F goes up to a G. The actual D note goes up to an E. And the B note goes up to a C. We come back to where we started from. Back to C. So we play the whole, we can play a whole scale in chords now. By following those principles. Hear those principles? We can add one more flavorful note to a chord, and we could come up with this. But it's still the major scale, but we're playing entire chords for that. Now we talked about the modes. What we had then was actually a modal chord formation. It was very simple. We just came up to the next note in the scale. If you'll notice this real quickly here. If we start with the C note and we play the C major scale, we have the C major scale. But if we start with the next note of the C major scale, which happens to be D, but we still play the C major scale. So with D, we have a thing called the D Dorian Minor scale. It's called Dorian Minor. And we can follow that on up and play the C major scale starting on the next note, which would be an F. We go like that. We can start it anywhere we want to. D or E. We start at E. Then becomes an E. It's called a Phrygian mode. Start with E, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. Phrygian. Then we have a thing called Lydian, which is we start on the F. F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. That's Lydian. The next one is called Mixolydian, and we start on the next note of the scale, which happens to be G. So we go G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's called Mixolydian. Then the last note of the scale is called Locrian, and it starts on the B note. It's B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And that's where we get these chords. We start off here. If we want to use this is way over your head right now, but a C major 7, for example. Then the next, if we go up to the next note in the C major scale, we have a D minor 7. Go up again, same little formula. We have an E minor 7. One more, we have a F major 7. Do it again. We go up to the next note. We have a G dominant 7, then an A minor 7, then a B minor 7 with a 5 in that chord that's flatted, which you don't know anything about right now. And we come back to the C. So we got this. You've heard people do that. And what we're doing is the major scale. We're not doing anything except that basic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, starting with C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. That's all we're doing. And if you learn that major scale, like I'm telling you, you can glean a multitude of information, or a plethora, or a great amount of information, and you can learn how to do so many things on the guitar that you would never learn just by picking up a chord book or some type of thing like that and trying to learn chords. You're very limited when you don't understand what you're doing. You should know this friend of mine, he would search all over the guitar trying to find the note, and he would sit there and be trembling trying to find the note. When the notes are right here before your fingers. They're right there, right before you. And you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to go hunting way down here to find a note. And we'll show you basically how to do melodic type songs with chords later in the fingerstyle guitar if you enjoy fingerstyle. Some people like the straight pick or the plectrum. I like thumb pick and fingerstyle because I got 5 fingers. Why not use them? All right, 4 fingers and a thumb to be exact. Anyway, we learned basically the modes. We start off with C, and we have the C major scale. If we start the same scale now, it is a different scale. It's according to how you look at it. If we start on D and play that same scale that we just played, it becomes a Dorian scale. Come up to the E and play the same scale, it's called Phrygian. Come up to the F, it's called Lydian. The G is called Mixolydian. The A, or the A notes, if we start there and we still play the C major scale, it's called the Aeolian or the natural minor scale. Then if we start on B and play that same C major scale, we have the mode called the Locrian mode. So I hope that you get something from this. Remember, you can play this stuff like this, or you can do it on 3 strings. So it becomes C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A, B with a flatted 5, B minor with a flatted 5th, and back to C. So next time, we will probably take you for a route to where that you can learn and make multiple inversions of chords on the guitar without even thinking about scales, although that you need to learn these scales and learn how that they apply to major chords. We've got all types of families of chords we want to teach you, and we probably will teach you that in the next lesson. So until next time, I'm so glad you listened. I hope that you learned something from this. This is Harlan Parrott. Thanks again.